whispering a love song. Then you captured me, and maybe it was harmony. So yes, you can stay in my life. I've never felt so good. You're the best thing in my life. I've never felt so good. You're the best thing in my life.
I cannot wait to get back from this run. So I got some tempeh sausage, I got some brown rice, gonna make up some beans when I get back, gonna make tacos, got some broccoli sprouts I'm gonna throw on those bad boys, some salsa, it's gonna be great. But first I'm gonna do 2 miles. While I'm out and doing that, I want you to check out this conversation that I had with Kallin Khan. Now this is only a clip of the awesome in-depth conversation that we had. I'm going to be releasing that whole conversation on the podcast this Friday. If you've never listened to the podcast, man, the guests that come on really share some awesome insight, and I get to go a little bit more in depth about my running journey. So make sure you check that out by clicking the link below, and it'll take you to any streaming service that you want to, or you can go to Share the Road Podcast with Chris Abel on any streaming platform. I'm on all of them. So I'm going to go do this run. Enjoy what Collin's got for you. Talk to you soon. Joining me now, we've got Kallin Khan from Lisle, Illinois. He went to the University of Iowa, but before that, he started running in his junior year of high school in 2013. When he attended the University of Iowa, he walked on in 2015, but due to some coaching changes, left the team in 2017, but that didn't stop him from running. He just kept going, and his resume certainly says it. At Chicago in 2018, he ran 2:28. Houston with a PR of 2:22. Okay, that's scary, folks. And then the Park to Park half, a PR of 1:07. Grandma's Marathon, still an impressive time despite an injury that we'll get into. Cal International Marathon, 2:26. And then the US 50K Road Championships, 9th overall with a time of 3 hours and 29 minutes. So, and you're now on the Bowerman track team, right?
Right. Yeah, the Bowerman Elite team.
Wow, dude. I mean, and 23 years old.
Yeah, well, there's this virus going around. We don't really know what it is yet.
Dude, I think at that point, people are still sharing memes about it and like making jokes, and we were like, "Oh, is it even real? It's not even real." And
right. Like they had canceled the World Indoor Championships, and I was like, "Oh, dang, that sucks." But this is just that's in the other part of the world. And so, sitting in the airport about to fly to New York City from Omaha. I see on Twitter, it's like Nassau County in New York, which is basically where we're flying, 100 possible cases of this virus, and we're about to fly there. But read more into the article, it's like, oh, one person might have it, and these 99 other people had contact. So I was like, oh, this is nothing.
Right.
So I had never been to Central Park. I'd never been to Times Square. And so Hannah and I, we got there Thursday night and stayed in a hotel next to Central Park, so that we could do all the Manhattan stuff. Yeah. So I took the day off. Of work. We went and looked at a bunch of attractions in New York City. Like, we didn't know the virus was a thing. We were in Times Square, surrounded by thousands of people.
Sure.
We didn't know what was going on really, and we weren't worried about it. It wasn't a big deal at all. And so we enjoyed our time there, and then went from Manhattan to somewhere in the middle of Long Island, a city called Islip, which was where the 50K champs were. And so we got there Friday night. Saturday was the Olympic trials, the marathon. So we mostly just hung out, watched that at our hotel. It's also the Tokyo Marathon that night, so watched some of that as well. Just watched marathons all day.
Got you into the race mood.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And then the next day was the 50K champs, and so went there, and it was pretty cold. I didn't really know who my competition was going to be with the Olympic trials the day before. A lot of people went to that over this. And so just scanning who was in the race previously, like in previous years, there was pretty much no one. And scanning for like people who had been on previous world champs teams, I really wasn't coming up with anything. Seeing anyone there who I would recognize as like a competitor with me. And then just, it was really cold. It was about 15, 20 degrees at the start of the race. The wind was picking up. Yeah, the wind was picking up. It's on a pretty exposed, like, state park on Long Island. The wind ended up starting around like 15 miles per hour, but getting up close to 30 at the end. Yeah, the race went almost according to plan. I mean, Mike Wardian ended up showing up, and I knew of him. I know him too well, but I knew.
Dude.
Yeah, he knows how to fast for a long time.
Did you see the virtual races he's done past month or so, dude? Like, I think he did 240, 250 miles on the 24-hour one. Then 2 weeks later, 12-hour did like 80 something crazy.
Yeah, the guy's crazy. And so I was pretty worried. I saw him and ended up he was mostly going for the Masters, or the 45 to 49-year-old 50K U.S. record. And so the race went off, and some guy I didn't know, like, totally took off ahead of me and started running really fast, probably around 250 pace on a windy day. And so I let him go. I said to myself, if he runs, I said to myself, if he runs that fast for the whole race, he deserves to win. I wasn't going to go with him.
Yeah.
And I don't know, he was wearing full tights, a full tight long sleeve, and I was also thinking, I don't know if this guy's legit. I don't know who he is. I don't know if he's going to be able to hold such a strong pace for this long. He doesn't look like. Yeah, I feel like he's warm up. And so he got me probably by about 2 minutes at the most. And that was probably 10K in, 15K in. And then I started to slowly reel him back in. Once I realized, like, I kept him at eye length distance. Like I let him go, but I wanted to be able to still see him. And so once I would see him past the 2 mile mark, and I'd look at my watch, and then I'd look at my watch when I passed him and see this is how much time he has on me. And so by doing that, I could tell that he started to slow down. I was like, okay, I don't have to worry as much with him this far ahead. And I guess one thing to mention is 10 days before the race, the IAU, International Association of Ultra Running, they tweeted out that the 50K is now a world championship. They're going to host the 50K World Champs in November, when usually they never announce it year of. They announce it year before there's going to be a World Champs next year.
Sure.
And so 10 days before, that's really short notice. Like, for me, it went from, okay, my goal race was the 100K, qualifying for Worlds. Now I can qualify for Worlds here. And most people who could qualify for Worlds can't really make a trip together. If they're not already running Olympic trials, they can't put together a trip in 10 days to go to New York City and race.
Do you think that had something to do with them kind of foreseeing that, like, hey, the 100K might get canceled, but we still want to get the World so we could, have that race, make that revenue?
Right. No, I didn't think of that, but perhaps. It came out of nowhere. It did. I talked to a USATF Ultra running official, and she said that it really surprised everyone that they announced the world champs. And so I'm thinking to myself, all right, now that it's world champs, there might be some more competition coming to try and qualify. And so this guy takes off in the race, and I was like, oh, I guess he really wants to qualify for the world. Maybe he's someone who signed up for it recently. But after a few loops, he started to come back to me, and I started to relax, get into a good pace. To qualify, you need to break 3 hours as a qualifier for Worlds. That's the standard. And so focused on basically running. I thought I was in about 250 shape on a good day, but the weather was not good. And so I was mostly running 255 pace until I saw him start coming back to me. I mean, I ran 255 pace probably through the 6 loops, probably through 30K. And by that point, I was in the lead. I passed him around halfway, and he didn't really put up a fight. And so I was like, all right, I'm just going to maintain pace, focus on myself. It's really windy out here. I'm just going to focus on breaking 3 hours and maintaining a lead. And so being a loop course, I could tell how far ahead I was on. And so once I got about 2 minutes ahead of him, I laid off the pace and really started running closer to 18 minutes of 5K versus 17:30 and maintaining that. And held that for the rest of the race. I know I could have gone faster, but I also had the 50-mile champs in 2 weeks after that, and I didn't want to burn myself out. And so I was like, all right, I'll break 3 hours. I'll win my first U.S. title. I'll qualify for my first world championship. Like, I was telling myself to calm down. Like, you've done everything you need to.
Right.
And it's really exciting that you're going to qualify for Worlds, but don't burn yourself out. And so I basically coasted the last 10, 15K, and that really saved my legs, I think. And so qualified for my first world team, super excited, and then started looking forward, because this wasn't even my biggest goal of the spring. And so now, I guess, that race was March 1st. And the talk of the virus is starting to heat up a little bit.
Yeah.
And so Hannah and I, we leave New York City the next day. We fly back to Portland. And I guess now the virus is really only in, like, I guess it's a bit in San Francisco, but it's mostly in Seattle and New York. We're out of New York now, so we're okay. And we were just in New York, so, like, it didn't seem bad there, right? So I guess it's not right. It's just like, oh, a few people have gotten this thing. It's not that bad. We're washing our hands, right?
Got your face mask.
No, we didn't even have a face mask.
I didn't get one till like 3 weeks ago. Some fabric thing.
Right. And so we get back to Portland. I'm not too sore from the 50K. Mostly, I was just tired from having gone. Like, I ran 3 weekends of 50K.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't too sore, but I was pretty tired from all the travel. And so that week it was mostly just like in getting well rested. That weekend I actually did a 32-mile run with some of my Bowerman teammates on the trails in Portland. Just I was trying out some new gels, so I wanted to get in a longer run and kind of lock into a pace that I wanted to maintain for the 50-miler. And so I did that, and then the Thursday morning before the 50-miler, which was on the Saturday, Hannah and I drove. So we're going to drive down to Auburn, California. That's where the 50-miler was. I think it was like an 8-hour drive, but being new to the Pacific Northwest, we wanted to see some sights. We wanted to see some stuff. And so we took the scenic route. We went past Mount Hood, which is near Portland, and then drove through Central Oregon, stopped in Bend, Oregon, and went for a run with Max King. He and I had talked a bit after the Tag 50K, and he was running the 50-mile in Auburn, and so we talked for a bit and ran for a bit, and made our way south, seeing different national parks and things like that on the way, and stopped in Southern Oregon on that Thursday night. Woke up early next day and drove the rest of the way to Auburn through Northern California. And I was feeling good. I'd never run a 50-miler, but I knew who the big names were, and Max King, of course. Tim Tollefson, he runs Hoka. He had won the Formidable 50K in February, which was on the same trails, and I think he beat everyone by like a half hour. went out there and crushed. And so he was training for Western States, so I knew he was in good shape. And then I knew Matt Daniels, who's a Nike trail guy who lives out in Boulder. And so I knew those three were going to be like the main guys to run with. I could see on Ultra sign up like they were. And so the race went. My game plan was, all right, Tim runs on these trails. He was supposed to do, like, he races here often, so I'm just going to hang on him. And that was pretty much the plan, and it worked well until about 26 miles into the race, about halfway. We gotten past, I guess, the hilliest part of the race. It's huge climbs and huge descents. And by that point, it was the four of us left, Tim, Max, Matt, and me. And I was in the lead at that point. We were basically trading the lead. It was a long race. We were all going pretty quick. And so one of us would take the lead, and there'd be single file. And around mile 26, the trail got a little bit wider, and I was like, my body was starting to lock up. My hips were starting to lock up. My back was starting to lock up. And I saved myself by saying, all right, we're halfway. We have a marathon to go, and you're hurting like there's 5 miles to go. If you don't slow down, you're going to drop out. And so I just let them go, and that was pretty much the last I saw of them. And so that was at mile 26, about mile 34, I think. No, before that, mile 27, 28, I started to get a cramp in my stomach. I didn't know if I was fueling too much or not enough. And so at the next aid station, tried fueling up, and it made my cramp worse. And so I was like, all right, so I fuel too much.
Yeah.
And by
it's a
about
trial
mile
and error thing, nutrition.
Right.
Yeah.
And by this point, my legs are starting to hurt. Cramping up actually probably helped because it forced me to slow down.
Yeah.
And so I'm just trudging along in the rain and in the wind. It's like the day before it was like 75 degrees. This day is like 45. Yeah. And 75 and sunny to 45 with the wind and rain.
Lucky
and
you.
now I'm at mile 40 of a 50 miler, which actually ended up being a 52 miler. The course was long.
Yeah.
I'm just suffering, and so
why not? Let's just throw in that it's 2 miles longer, and it should be
exactly. And so I'm at mile 44, which is where the last aid station is supposed to be, but I have 2 miles to go to the last aid station. And I'm just like suffering. I'm like thinking to myself, like, I don't know if I can finish this thing.
Yeah.
Like I've made it this far, but I feel awful. The weather's just getting worse, and finally, I get to the last aid station. I'm running like 9-minute miles. 9-minute miles. Legs gone. I get there. Hannah's there. She drove to every aid station. It's like a point 50 miles. So she had to drive in the rain to these different aid stations. And I get there, and I'm in 4th place at this point. Like the other 3, they ran away, and I just had to let them go. And I'm thinking to myself, like, 4th place is pretty good. Top 5 get money. Like, I have a bunch of $100, and I guess pay for this trip. And I get there, and that's when the rain really started to come down. Like, it was heavy. It was like wind picked up. Like, I was underneath the canopy in this aid station, and
just
still it was coming in sideways.
Oh no!
And so Hannah's like, "Do you want your jacket?" I was like, "Yeah."
That'd be great.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't even think of that. Like, yeah, I'm freezing, and you have my waterproof, warm winter running jacket. Yes, I'll take that. And so I put that on. I was like, all right, that's a good little thing to have. And then they were like, do you want to eat something from the aid station? And I was like, I don't know. And I looked, they had Reese's eggs. It's almost Easter.
Oh.
I love Reese's buttercups, and they had Reese's eggs. I was like, Reese's eggs? Hell yeah.
It's not just peanut butter. It's in those eggs, let me tell you, because I eat like 10.
Exactly. I grabbed it. I was starting to feel better. I was like, all right, 6 miles ago, I ate that Reese's egg in like 2 seconds. I was like, all right, gotta keep going. Yeah. And then the aid station captain yells out. She goes, all right, 3rd runner leaving the tent. I was like, wait, 3rd runner? I look over at Hannah, and she just points. And Matt Daniels, he actually had hypothermia. And so he dropped out at the aid station. He was sitting in a lawn chair wrapped in like 15 blankets with like a warm cup of something. Like I think it was soup, just sitting there shivering. And I was like, oh no. But at the same time, I was like, I'm in third place. I'm on the podium now.
Yeah.
Like I got this huge bolt of energy. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna finish this thing. I'm gonna push through. I got my jacket, I got my Reese's egg, and now I'm in third. So like everything's looking up.
That's
and
right.
so I took off after that as fast as one could take off at mile 46 of the 52-mile race.
Yeah.
And basically just held it together for the last 10K, and ended up third place. And the race almost got canceled. By this point, the U.S. had, at least California had issued, or I guess some states had issued events no more than 50 people could take place, or it might have been 250 people at this point. And this race, it was 250, because this race had 210 people in it. And the only reason it got the check off was because it was an ultra, and everyone would spread out really far.
Mm-hmm.
And so still, we weren't like worried about the virus or anything. After the race, Hannah and I actually went to San Francisco. That's what we had never been there, and so we're like, all right, this would be a good place to spend the night after the race.
Yeah.
So we went to San Francisco, and it was like a ghost town. Everyone was like staying home. We had no idea. We walked around and we're like we wanted to get something to eat. We didn't have any food, and the grocery stores were closed. And we're like, well, I guess if this virus is that bad, we shouldn't go to a restaurant. Walked down the street. We went in, like, the restaurants were open. No one was in them. So we're like, I guess it's okay to eat if no one's here. Like,
yeah.
So we ate, and it was like kind of eerie because we barely saw anyone, and it was like one of the biggest cities in the U.S. And so the next morning we're like
zombie apocalypse kind of thing, like
exactly,
The Walking Dead.
Exactly. Yeah, and so we're like, all right, next morning we're getting out of here.
Yeah.
And so since we drove, and so it was our plan to drive the coast up the Pacific Ocean back to Portland, San Francisco. And so that's what we did. Over the next few days, we had ourselves a nice little vacation. We didn't go sightseeing, but we went to like national forests and stuff where there's no one there.
Sure.
So we were able to follow these social distancing guidelines that were just coming out,
mm-hmm.
And like had a great last trip. We really lucked out that when we got home, that's when like things were starting to shut down.
I'm telling you, you're gonna wanna check out the pod on Friday. If you've been holding out on checking out the podcast no more, you've got to give it a listen. Kallin obviously has, I mean, it's crazy how all the details of these races are just like engraved in his brain. After a race, I have no idea. But he has so many more stories for us that I didn't include in this vlog because, I mean, we talked for a long time. And so I just wanted to give you guys a taste. So obviously just a stellar athlete. He's young. He's 23 years old. He just posted that he is going to be dedicating all of his running in the month of May to his brother Kazim, who tragically passed away from an accidental drug overdose in October. I had no idea. He posted on Facebook just a couple days ago, a couple days after our interview. What he's doing is he's doing kilometers for Kazim, or K's for Z, and he is going to be raising money for the Drug Policy Alliance. So what can we do? I already know that I am going to be pledging 10 cents for every kilometer that he runs in the month of May. And his goal is to run 1,000 kilometers. All right, if you are interested in helping out Kallin and donating to this awesome cause, what a great tribute for his brother, then go to the website that I've posted in the description. It's going to look like this. You can either choose to pledge a certain amount per kilometer, or you can make a one-time donation if you're terrified of how many kilometers Kallin just might put out. Make sure that you go and, man, just support this awesome tribute for a good cause that he is doing for his brother. Today, I am drinking the Pacer IPA. Boop. This is from Avery Brewing Company out of Colorado. This is a low calorie, low carb IPA. I don't really care about that stuff, but cool. Cheers. You know, I really needed that. Make sure you check out the podcast Friday. Thanks for tuning in for another week of the vlog. Starting up very soon, here in a couple weeks, going to be ramping up into the marathon training block. I don't know if Indy's gonna happen. I have no idea, no clue. But I'm gonna train like it is. I'm gonna put myself out there. I'm gonna put my body in the grind. I've added these afternoon short runs, trying to get my body adjusted to 2 runs a day, because once we start ramping up the miles in this training block, there is going to be some days that I run twice a day. So I don't want to shock my body with some 2, medium long distance runs in a day. I want to make sure that it's starting to get ready for that. So I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to eat some dinner. I hope you guys have an outstanding rest of your week. I will talk to you on Friday. Train hard, rest easy, share the road. Abel, out.